Why 6.0s?
Your guys' product has made our product better.
And they're like, oh my gosh, we're cutting edge. I'm like, man, we've been doing this in automotive world.
The holder of the world record in Pro Street, the KC Turbo crew from Mesa, Arizona.
Welcome back to the KC Turbos podcast, everyone. I'm here, joined by my great friend Houston as my new co-host.
Hey, guys.
Charlie's a very busy man, so I got my new best friend here. And we are joined by the legendary circuit board medics, Grant and Ed. Guys, thanks so much for coming out.
That's great to be here.
Really appreciate it. So you guys just doing a national tour, wanted to stop by. I know we kind of set this up at UCC where you and I first met.
Yeah, it's been good. You guys have been so hospitable. It's a great operation here. Very impressed with what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. We're very impressed with what you guys do as well.
Just as far as getting started, it's a really cool story because I had no intention. So I'm the founder at Circuit Board Medics. I've been there since the beginning. And much like Charlie, there's some stories around my garage, right? But it was a side hustle in the beginning. It was something that started because I had two small children at home and I had a washing machine that the control board went bad on. I was working as a mechanical engineer in manufacturing. I loved electronics since I was a kid. I modified every RC truck, and I'm dating myself when I say this. But back when I was young, CB radios were a big thing, right? So getting a CB radio oh, absolutely. So getting a CB radio to perform better than the FCC wanted it to perform was a big thing, right?
Allegedly.
Exactly. Allegedly. But, I had all of that background and I put it to use and fixed my control board on my washing machine. It's a $400 control board on a $500 washing machine. It just didn't make sense. So repaired it, making the story a little bit smaller. I thought months later, there's probably some other people that are suffering from the same problem and I can help them.
Yeah.
Put a $80 repair service on eBay. The fun thing is we just posted our 15th anniversary on social media and a customer commented, is one of my favorite comments. A customer commented that 15 years ago, they took a chance on a no-name company that I don't even think it wasn't even incorporated at that point probably, but they took a chance to fix their washing machine. And 15 years later, they're following us on social media and talking about how great of an experience it was. Yeah. But I fixed it. It covered things up. There's a lot of story in between that and the 6.0 Ficum.
Yeah.
But the 6.0 Ficum was what put us on the market as far as automotive, and automotive has just been so much fun. There's so much more excitement and energy around putting an engine computer on a truck, on a dyno to test it than there is to put still like the appliance industry. Don't get me wrong. We still have lots of great customers there, but putting a refrigerator board into a refrigerator to come back the next day and see if it's cold or not isn't quite the energy and excitement, right? As testing something on a dyno is. So we love automotive for sure.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So why 6.0s? Why the Ficum?
Well, the 6.0, I was driving a 6.0 at the time.
Naturally.
So I had some work performed, and in that work, the Y pipe, the down pipe coming off the turbo had been damaged, and I didn't catch it. A guy used a cutting torch, went right across the pipe, and put a pinhole in it. So as I was driving it home from the shop, it wasn't building boost. Anyway, long story short, he came out to my house to replace the pipe on the leading going into the turbo, and when he did, he saw all the stuff I had going on in my garage, because this was all around washing machines and dryers at the time, and I had oscilloscopes and microscopes, and it just looked crazy in my garage. At that point I actually had a test washing machine, so I could test the circuit board on a washing machine in my garage before I sent it back to a customer.
It was like a mad scientist garage.
It really was. And the mechanic asked me, and we're great friends at this point. He's a big part of our story.
Probably paid him a lot of money.
Absolutely.
On the 6.0.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm allowed to say that I have one.
That's right. I still have that same 6.0. It's turned into a shop truck for circuit board medics. But as he saw and I explained what I was doing while we were working on my truck together, he pointed at the Ficum, right underneath the coolant reservoir, and said, "Hey, you think you could fix one of those?" I didn't even know what one of those was. Yeah. I didn't know. This is my first diesel truck. I was learning, rapidly. And you have to learn rapidly with the 6.0, right?
Yes, you do.
So he brought me 5 bad Ficums within the next week, and I tinkered with them for months. Like I said, just on the side. And I vividly remember driving to work with a Ficum that I thought I had repaired on my truck to test it, and getting halfway to work into a 25-minute drive and breaking down, something blowing up inside the Ficum. But over the course of about 6 months, I figured it out. And that was the second service that went on eBay. So at that point, we had a washing machine control board, a Ficum, and between the two of those things growing, it turned into, it put me in a position where I had to choose to either ignore my wife and 2 small children. There was just not enough time in a day to be a terrible employee in a job that I loved, or to drop it. And I just loved solving problems so much. And I think that's been built into our DNA. We have over 100 employees right now that has been built into the DNA to solve problems. But that's where the 6.0 came from.
Okay. And where'd the name come from, Circuit Board Medics? Was that the first username that wasn't, taken on eBay or making a profile? Or?
It's I had a mentor, I had a business mentor years ago, and I had the entrepreneurial bug before circuit boards were the thing. There was a lot of things. I've just always loved business. But I had a business mentor that said, hey, whatever your product is, put it into the name. Because there's this thing called the internet that's really catching on at this point, and people don't know what to search for always, right? So make sure that your product or service is in your name. And this guy had a very successful business, but he didn't have his product or service in his name. It was more of a last name business, and there was a lot of confusion around that. So, we looked at all kinds of things, from circuit board medics to, we own circuitboardmechanics.com right now because we get confused and called that a lot of times.
Okay.
And that forwards to circuit board medics because we get called that as well. But, we're just bringing things back to life, right? We have 2 office buildings. We primarily operate out of one. But it's just been growth of product catalogs like crazy. I mean, as you guys know, we're into the turbo actuators now. We're into all kinds of things. And it's not just automotive. We do some ground support equipment for the aviation world. We do all kinds of things.
I think that's one of my favorite things about you guys is because you don't have a lens on that is strictly automotive. I think that gives you guys the ability to think outside the box that a lot of other people in the industry can't, that do what you that do similar things to what you do. I think being able to pull that information from all those different industries and experiences just makes for a much better product. I mean, you're talking about aviation. I imagine that aviation requirements are slightly more than vehicular requirements.
Right. Yeah, and it's the same thing. I mean, what we know from the automotive world, I mean, you go back to 1996 when OBD2 became a thing, right? The appliance world's kind of catching up to that now. You see appliance technicians that need a laptop.
Plug and scan to
to fix a refrigerator now. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're cutting edge. And I'm like, man, we've been doing this in the automotive world for, 3 decades. You guys were asking me earlier, how do we figure things out? What kind of reverse engineering, what engineering team, right? And I think the difference with us is it's not an engineering team. It's not one team that's just dedicated to solving certain problems. We're not siloed. We try not to be siloed. It's hard not to get there, right? Especially when you have some experts in certain fields. But everyone, what we strive for is for everyone in the building to understand that when we have a problem or when a customer has a problem, it's everybody's problem in the building, right? It's all hands on deck. It's, get a fresh perspective on everything. So we're not selling people on an upgraded lifestyle. You don't come to Circuit Board Medics to hit a golf ball straighter or jump higher or look younger or
all that.
We're not selling an upgraded lifestyle. We're saying, hey, yesterday something was working, right? And today it's not, and it's disrupted your life. Now, it may not have ruined your life, but it's a disruption.
It's annoying.
If the fridge isn't cooling or if the car's not starting or whatever it is, right? And we want to restore that normalcy. We do that by serving. Serving is giving more than we take. Right? We don't want to, we're not transactional. We're more relational than we are transactional. Like we don't have to make money on every interaction we have somewhere. We don't have to do this. We just, we want to be more relational. We want to give more than we take.
That's great. I think having a good vision like that for your company, it does nothing but it attracts people. So, and I'm assuming that this is one of the people that has been attracted to Circuit Board Medics. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Grant Campbell. I'm our account manager. I came around much later, so I missed a lot of the early days of the working out of the garage. But I mean, it really was the culture that attracted me, and I think that's a lot of what keeps me there. My background was a little bit different. I worked in youth camps and was a paramedic, so kind of interesting the juxtaposition there. And then I served overseas in the Himalayas as a missionary, working as a paramedic for about 7 years.
Very cool.
And so I think like the common thread in my life was serving and taking care of people.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out what the needs are and support that. Like I'm not a car guy. I'm a little embarrassed sometimes when I get in reviews talking about that, but like I love our customers and I love being able to step in and help and serve and fix problems. We were talking to some of your warranty guys earlier, and to be able to dig in and understand what the real issues are and provide a solution for that is what draws me to what we do. Work's going to be hard. It's going to be a grind, but when you can do it with a team like we have, it makes all the difference in the world.
Something unique that sets you guys apart than a lot of other companies that we work with is that when we run into issues and we're looking for solutions, because let's face it, nobody has all the solutions.
Right.
There are many times where people will balk at trying to create solutions around problems they don't understand. One of the very first thing I noticed about you guys was when we mentioned any kind of like, hey, we had like one warranty in the last year and a half, which to me is outstanding. It's phenomenal.
Fantastic.
And it was like, well, no, let's go look at it right now. I was like,
you guys pulled us off the tour. Like, I guess we're doing it.
We're gonna get there. But the excitement behind let's go and fix it right now. Let's look at it. Let's start to try to solve it. Most people aren't willing to do that. And then really when two good companies get together and they can collaborate on something and they can actually try to understand something better, usually there's a lot of special sauce that comes out of that. And so the fact that I immediately heard you guys asking questions and saying, hey, what are some of the problems that your end customer had with this? And we take a big responsibility as well to have that ownership in your product. We don't like to just say, oh, you've got contaminated oil, we're never going to deal with you, right? And that's your problem. And oh no, you're out of warranty. No, we want to take ownership and say, is there anything that we could have done better in this product in order to make it more widely spread usable for every single user, not just specific users that follow very specific guidelines.
When I hear this morning that there's been a problem, right? It doesn't matter if that's 1 out of 1,000. It doesn't matter if that's 1 out of 2. There's a problem, right? And that customer may have the KC turbo that they bought may be the only turbo they've ever bought. Right? It's the only experience they've ever had. You got to reduce yourself down to empathizing with what that customer's felt, right? Because there's tons of things that I buy in my life that this is the only time I'm going to buy this one thing. And if the first one's not right, then I don't think
not doing it again.
I'm not doing it again, right? I'm going with a different brand. I'm going with something else.
You've talked about, component testing, component replacement, is it upgrades? What sets you guys apart in that aspect?
It's upgrades. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over Grant here. I get excited.
I know. I'm excited about this. The same. Yeah. It's so fun.
But you look at, you will go all the way back to the 6.0 Ficum. We've been doing that product for 15 years, right? And we have never gotten one back that I can imagine outside of warranty that we didn't at least do under warranty, because here's the key piece. And to specify, make that clear, that wasn't clear the way I said it. If we were providing a 1-year warranty in the beginning, we've gotten them back at the 6 or 7 year mark, from customers that are happy at that point, because they're like, hey, this thing lasted 6 or 7 years. I'm ready to pay for another repair. When we tear into it, we look at it and we're like, holy crap, our process and our service to this unit has evolved so much in the last 7 years that we didn't feel like we gave them what they needed.
It feels like a
7 years
substandard
ago,
product.
right? Right, it does. And that's a tough, there's some tension there, because it's kind of like, gosh, were we selling someone something 7 years ago that we shouldn't have? But like I said earlier, as you know better, you do better. And that's the process evolving. I hope that 7 years from now, we look back at where we are today and we're like, holy moly, we didn't have a clue.
Do that.
We didn't have a clue, right? Because that is the process of growth. I tell people all the time, if you look at yourself 5 years ago and you don't think you were an idiot, then
you're probably not growing.
Right?
I don't know where this fits in the story, but you mentioned ISO certification, stuff like that for your facility. Is that something you always were striving to? Is that something that just kind of like, hey, we fit into that. We could do that. Let's do it.
Yeah. It was something that was natural. It was something that we were getting approached by a lot of companies that that required that of their suppliers.
Right.
But I think it was just an extension of who we are.
Right.
Like, we were always trying to refine processes, always trying to have robust quality
Proof that,
analysis.
yeah, I can meet
and-
that standard and I'll
Right.
beat it, you know,
Right.
which is
Right.
impressive.
Yeah, I fought ISO certification for years and years
Yeah.
because I came from the background of
engineer.
So
Yeah.
and I mean, my very first job out of college was making medicine, right?
Yeah.
So we were manufacturing, mostly over the counter stuff, but the regulations and the stack of
Oh, yeah.
paperwork was ungodly, right?
Ridiculous, yeah.
And I kind of fought against the ISO certification, and I would even drop a line on guys sometimes when we were looking at bigger tier 1 suppliers, and they required it. You had to have it. There was no, and I would say, hey, do you want a quality program or a quality product? Right? Like, we'll give you a quality product, but if you want a quality program, you're gonna have to go elsewhere because we're not certified yet. But it got to the point that it was pushing us, that was one of those things I was just wrong in, because by the time the process auditors came in and walked us through what it took to get ISO certified, I mean, the feedback we got is we were one of the easiest companies they had because we were already doing those things.
Yeah.
Our documentation was there. We didn't have to. I mean, there's a few things you have to tweak and you have to
Yeah.
do, change the language on here, do whatever else. But we were already following a lot of lean principles and standardization. If you send us an instrument cluster out of a Super Duty truck that's got 100 miles on it or 100,000 miles or 1,000,000 miles on it, it's going to go through the same process, right?
Okay, yeah.
We're not just kind of testing and only,
Yeah. And
it's not a
that one looks
repair.
good. Yeah.
It's remanufactured at that
Right.
point. So the automotive industry, because we work in so many different industries, the automotive industry is by far the most collaborative
Oh, yeah.
that we work in. I mean, we have, good competitors. We have people that we compete with on one side of things and, on some channels and their products, and then we supply them on other sides of things, but we're collaborative, and we know, we'll respect where we're competing. We'll respect where we need each other. We don't try to fully collaborate if we can't in certain areas. And you take, other industries. I won't mention specific industries. We've been at other trade shows where your competitors are walking by with their cell phone in video mode, acting like they're on a phone, trying to video all your products with their head.
What is some of the weirdest, craziest, off the wall components you guys have seen, had to deal with, had to fix, had someone calling you like, hey, can you do this? There's only one in the world. Has there ever been something like that?
Oh, yeah.
You want to answer that one?
Yeah.
I
where's
mean, the
your
most
favorite,
recent
most
thing
memorable?
was one of the bomb disposal robots from the local police department.
Okay.
They had this thing and it wasn't working right, so brought it in, looked at our guys. I mean, our guys looked at it. I think you probably were a lot closer to it than I was.
Yeah. Our team had fun just playing with it in the parking lot after we
Yeah.
fixed it. So we got videos of a little bomb disposal robot, and they've got a heck of a remote control on this thing. We did a ladder control board for a fire truck one time. So they brought a circuit board into us, local fire department.
Okay.
And they said, this controls the ladder and it works intermittently. And we can't have that. We can't just respond to the same go up and down. And we looked at it. We're like, yeah, we're not really going to be able to. This is a no quote. Well, through a connection of a connection of a connection, somehow this makes it all the way to the submittal for our county to get a new fire truck to the tune of just shy of $1 million fire truck, because that was their argument. And this was a one-off control board for a build on a fire truck. The commissioner gets in touch with me directly and says, hey, I know you guys do work like this. You think you could help us? He did not even know they'd already brought it to us and we had said no. But at that point, we were like, okay, hold on. You guys are buying a whole new fire truck because of this? Yeah. So we put a lot of effort into
All
it.
right.
We fixed
Let me
this.
take a look at it. Yeah.
We fixed this board. But talk about a sense of like, okay, this has to work at this point.
Yeah.
Because, the last thing I want is another phone call 6 months from now where they're like, well, we were trying to save the baby on the fourth level, and all of a sudden, your happy circuit board didn't work, right? So we have a nuclear power plant just outside of Greenville, South Carolina, where we're based.
Yeah.
And they have a very sophisticated system for monitoring things. And it was one of these, hey, circuit board's down and we have no place to get a replacement. So we did that for the nuclear power plant. So
very cool.
Some pretty cool things there. All of our testing is developed internally. So we tried everything that's on the market, it feels like, for test stands. And what we do is just so unique. Testing a circuit board, it's not like you can just find a black box you plug a circuit board into and it gives you a pass or fail, red light, green light, right?
What have been some like the larger, failures or growing pains?
Gosh, I think back to just how to manage and love people well has been super, super hard, right? Because I mentioned earlier, we have over 100 teammates. I hate the word employees, so I try not to use it. But we'll have 100 teammates right now. And man, what motivates and inspires and gives each of these guys a sense of pride is very different. I mean,
Yeah.
100 different people, right? And I say all the time, we do a quarterly meeting where we just kind of give an update to everybody at one time, every quarter. We've done that since the very beginning. When there was just two of us, we would sit down quarterly and look at things, right? But we do a quarterly meeting, and I say all the time, hey, guys, this is for communication. The people presenting this information, we all know it, right?
Yeah.
We're not getting up here and learning anything from each other. The people presenting it, we all know this information. This is for communication. And I think communication is the hardest thing. It's the hardest part of running a business. It's the hardest part of being a dad. It's the hardest part of being a husband. And I relate that to marriage. I'm like, I love my wife more than any human being in the entire world. But 9 times out of 10, our conflict and our tension is over bad communication, over bad expectations. Because communication is not just verbal. Our verbal communication is pretty good. After over 20 years of marriage, what I say and what she hears is pretty much aligned. What she says, what I hear. But it's the expectations that we set for each other, right? And people come to work every day with expectations that we fail them on. I have expectations that Grant fails me on. He has expectations I fail him on, right? And it's that, I'd say that's been one of the hardest things, because as a team gets bigger, now you're just managing more and more and more expectations.
That's right.
Right. And and how do you live up to it? And what we don't try to make Circuit Board Medics a happy place. Like, that's not what it's not the happiest place on earth. Disney's got that. They got it locked in.
Yeah.
Right. That's not what we're trying to do. We want a place where people are going to grow. I want a place where people are going to retire and look and say, hey, this was a place that made me not just a better teammate, for my coworkers, but it made me a better dad. It made me a better husband. It made me a better, mom, all these other things. Right.
Yeah.
So I would say that's been, product wise, yes, we've had missteps. We have missteps every day, every week on, developing products and how to do that. But managing the growth of the organization comes down to, I think, the hardest part is people.
I can't thank you guys enough for the product that you guys do make. I know you've heard me say that several times throughout the day today. But truly, your guys' product has made our product better. Because when we can rely on the quality that you're putting into these remanufactured whole set actuators, and they actually work well every single time, it just makes it so that way when the end consumer gets their product, they're extremely happy. When we aren't dealing with failure after failure on, trying to get your guys' actuators to work with our turbos, it just makes it super easy, which is why we use you guys so much. We're so thankful for the product that you guys do and for your level of being willing to always improve on your quality. And you can see it in your workmanship. If you were to walk downstairs right now and ask any one of the 9 turbo builders out in that room, every single one of them, if I ask them which remanufactured whole set actuator they're going to go grab, guess who the number one supplier is going to be from all 9 of them? It's your guys' company. So we can't thank you guys enough. And I'm sure that our consumers as well are very grateful to that. So you guys, if you are ever interested in learning more about Circuit Board Medics, they've got a website. You can always go to their website and check them out. But they are just an absolutely phenomenal company, always striving to do something new, something better, and improve their quality.
Yeah. And Grant, when they call, do I get to talk to you, or who are we talking to?
Yeah, we have a whole team of customer support. You might catch me at a trade show out visiting customers like this, but circuitboardmedics.com is going to be where you can see where it all goes down.
Guys, go check out circuitboardmedics.com. I think I'm actually going to call them up, or probably just pull them aside after, to fix my cluster and my fuse box in my 6-liter. Check them out. Subscribe to KC Turbos, and we'll see you guys next time.